Last time on Square Roots, Varric goes ghost busting, Meryl doubles down on demons, and Fenris discusses his severance with his old employer. Also, Anders wades through literal shit. What was he stinking? And welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa, and today is a very special... Oh, thank you very much, Johnny. I feel so welcome and celebrated. Today is a very special double-decker episode.
Yeah, double-decker!
What does that mean? Nothing to you, the listener, but everything to us, the recorders. This is the... second time we are attempting to record this episode.
Jim is not here today, and he knows what he did, and that's why he's not here. And maybe we will allow him back on the Dragon Age 2 finale if he begs.
Aw, it's not Jim's
happens
fault.
to everyone. Yeah, it's happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened to Matt. Mm-hmm. It probably hasn't happened to Johnny. He tends to be perfect about these things, but it certainly happens to me.
I definitely had
what?
to recover. I think it's happened to me that I've flushed down an episode before.
And you know what? If what that means is that I get to spend 2 nights in a row with my good buddies,
yep,
except for Jim, who is in the doghouse, literally, then that's not the worst.
No, we're not calling you Jim. Get back in your doghouse.
Yeah. No.
Oh,
No.
This is getting kinky, but not the kinky that I like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. No, Jim regrets that he cannot be here, but he, of course, is, I don't know, packing his suitcase? I don't understand the whole situation. Not to leave the Square Roots house forever. He's just a jet-setting Jim.
Mm-hmm.
No, he's in Austin.
So yes, Jim's computer
he's already drove out there.
Jim's computer ate his track last episode.
Cut that. Don't tell them what happened. All they need to know is that Jim knows what he did, and maybe he'll be back next week.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Thanks.
Jim knows what he did, and maybe he'll be back next week.
Hey, before we dive into the meat of the episode, should we do what we did last night and try to plug that poll?
Sure. There is a poll.
But maybe first, you're right. Vanessa, who are we?
Yeah.
Who are we is I'm Vanessa.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And I'm here with my good friends, Johnny.
Yep, that's me.
Johnny Black City Brandon. And
What?
Pardon?
they always pick a nickname for you that has to do with the thing. So I chose the Black City, the ancient golden city that was the seat of the Maker until it was soiled by Tefilter mages when they entered through the gates and became the Black City. It's a really obvious Dragon Age reference.
How about Johnny Heart of the Many, Brandon?
Mm-hmm.
Or like Heart of the Many.
I love it.
Thank you. All right, well, since we now know who's won this episode, I guess I'll see you guys later again.
Bye.
Do I get to be introduced?
I said, did I?
No.
Also Matt.
I'm Matt.
Wow. That sounds really cool.
He actually prefers Matthew.
No, I don't really care.
I thought you said you preferred Matthew and always calls yourself Matthew.
Maybe I do. I don't know. I
calls
do refer to myself
Matthew.
as Matthew. I do refer to myself as Matthew. So that I guess that means that is my preference.
Well,
So
I will
I'm
attempt
your host, Matt
to remember that.
Matthew Van
Matt
Zandt.
Matthew Van Zandt. Matt Matthew Van Zandt. This is the show where we play your favorite classic RPGs one chunker at a time, and then talk about them, and then delete that, and then talk about them again.
Yay!
Huzzah! We're all excited to be here. We're all excited to talk about Dragon Age 2, but we should also be excited to talk about our next game, which is being decided right now by our patrons.
And is it a close one? Is it going to be down to the wire?
So the vote ends in a couple of days from the release of this episode, and Final Fantasy Tactics does have a commanding lead. So if you would like to participate in that vote, go to patreon.com/squarerootspodcast and sign up for our sweet voting tier. What are the other options? Final Fantasy Tactics, Fallout 3.
Ooh. Always a
Yakuza
bridesmaid,
Like a
never
Dragon.
bride.
And John, did you pick something awful? I feel like you did. Xenogears. Yeah, that's the
It was a
that's
real
the close
debate
second.
between
close.
Xenogears and Xenoblade Chronicles, because I was like, well, Xenoblade's easier to find and a bit newer and less like reading.
Yeah, the problem with that is that nobody considers that game a classic RPG.
Well, I think a lot of people like that Xenoblade Chronicles. It was,
Yes, I for one am not a fan of the MMO but single player style.
It's got some charm, I think. But before we get into that, listeners, for $5 a month, you too can vote. Go to our patreon.com/squarerootspodcast.
And don't forget that it's the year of votes. This isn't the first, this is but the first vote of the year. Hark upon my voice, listeners. Sign up now and vote all year long. We're going to get weird with it too, right? We have themes planned. We're going to put some new stuff up there, some non-RPG stuff. We're going to get weird.
I want to
It's going to be a weird year.
I mean, I have a lot of terrible ideas. One of them
What
is
are they
going
gonna
to
make us
do open world GTA style game, like a Saints Row or Grand Theft Auto.
I would put Red Dead Redemption on that list. I've been meaning to play that game. I love a Western. So, dang, I had a point I wanted to make, but now it slipped my mind. It was that we need to move into our hot gaming news segment. Ooh. And can I just say, like, let's keep it a little tighter this time.
Yes. I won't list
somebody talk about order. Yeah, if you've got, let's just hit the top 3 on the Nintendo. Yeah. And the biggest one that we should lead with, I think, is Chrono Cross, because that's the most relevant to this podcast. You don't think so?
Okay.
All right. Let's dive in to the hottest and oldest segment on this show, the favorite segment, Hot Gaming News, that is spelled with a Z. And I'll go first. Did y'all see that Nintendo Direct?
Yes.
No,
I didn't actually see it. I never watched.
Yeah, who actually watches that crap?
Just watching an ad. So
I like to wait until the news trickles out later so that I can get angry about how they did not sneak announce Breath of the Wild 2.
They did not announce any of the things that Matt or Johnny were really looking forward to. Like, Johnny wants his Prime trilogy for Switch.
Oh, so much. I want that so badly.
Yeah.
I will say, I'll give them this. This is like a monthly ad that they do. Like, they're not obligated to... Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not speaking in Internet Gamer, am I? How dare they?
Whoa. That was an Internet Gamer. That was Satan.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing.
Yeah, like, if you're an Internet Gamer, it has to be like, Nintendo once again decided to make the weirdest, stupidest choice. What were those guffins thinking? Those big packs of morons.
Well, the big news out of the Nintendo Direct is that they're finally releasing a Chrono Cross remaster. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We've been talking about it on the show for a long time. Everybody's been hoping that it was going to happen. They've been hinting about it, and now it's happening. Obviously, Chrono Cross, we all played it last year and was rocketed to the tops of our lists as one of the best games we've played. It turned out we all adored it.
I thought it was pretty
Except
good.
for Jim, who didn't finish it.
But he did great, considering that he thought he would hate it, and he liked it.
He did love it, thinking he did change his opinion on it.
Yeah. Now, it's not like don't expect go in there expecting a Final Fantasy VII remake level thing. It's more like what they did with Final Fantasy VIII, where they sort of upgraded the models, and so like the faces look a little bit better and it runs faster. So it's like a.
Hopefully, it has some nice fun cheats.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm sure it does.
They also
Maybe
have
we can
a
do
Final Fantasy VI of that coming out.
That is out. Pixel Remaster is out.
Oh, snap. Wow.
Yep. You can get that on iOS.
I haven't checked it out.
Looks nice. I saw somebody on Reddit had posted a video of themselves suplexing the train.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah, it looked great. Well, I'm excited about Chrono Cross. Maybe we can put it on the list for an instant classic when it comes out, because I could absolutely play that game again.
Now,
particularly with cheats on, so that I could blow through that slow-ass combat.
I'd never heard of Live a Live really before. I'd heard like Bahamut Lagoon and some of those other Squaresoft games that never got released in North America. Live a Live's another one of those, and that's getting a surprise translation localization. So I'm kind of interested to see what that's like.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We should check that out too. And of course, Mother Origins, which is Earthbound 1 basically, and Earthbound are also coming out on Nintendo's online service. Is that right?
Yeah, it's on Switch Online. It's already there.
And I would say one other thing I wanted to talk about that's not really so related to RPGs and stuff, but I'm excited that they announced a new set of tracks for Super Mario Kart 9, which is a fantastic iteration of that series. And yeah, they announced that they're going to release a pack of like 50 levels.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's basically a whole new game, my friends.
Vanessa, do you have any hot gaming news?
Nah, dog.
What about Wordle?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, we can talk about it.
I will talk about Gran Turismo 7. There's a whole state of play about it. I thought that it was coming out in like 2 years, so I had time to save up and get a PlayStation 5, but I don't think I'm going to be able... It's coming out in March. I don't think I'm going to be able to get a PlayStation 5 before March, so I'm gonna have to play it on the PS4, friends. I'm gonna be like, oh, look, it's 30 frames per second at 720p. Oh, look at me playing an inferior version of a game series I love, because people keep... I looked on Facebook, Vanessa. I looked, and all the PS5s for sale were $800, and they're all like, e-transfer me the money, and then we'll meet up.
I mean, I don't know if they're doing it like they're doing it in the States where they're releasing batches, but there's definitely people you can follow on Twitter that'll tell you, at least in the States, when things have been released and, you know, the days to go get them and stuff. Just follow some of those. Put some Google alerts on that thing, and you'll get it soon enough.
Okay. I'll try my best. I do want a PS5.
I know you do. I just want you to try before you give up. You have not even tried. Looking on the Facebook market is not trying, sir.
And I went to Walmart and there weren't any in the Walmart.
No, they're not. They're not in stores, man. But I got that Xbox. You know, you can get it. You just got to be patient. All right.
Yeah, I want that Xbox. I am following some of those people. Mm-hmm. I haven't pulled the trigger because they keep being like bundles, but if I see a bundle that's around very much more, then
why not?
I'm gonna get it
for sure. There's no reason you shouldn't. It always seems to be like you're looking. It always looks to me like you're looking at GameStop and not like Best Buy and Walmart, Walmart's the one who is getting it in. More than anybody, Walmart is the one that's getting it. So if you're really looking for it, just keep an eye out for Walmart.
Well, this thing, it gives updates on everyone. And Walmart does have, it seems like, some bundles that are always available, but they're like in the $700-800 range, and that's too much.
Well, I didn't mean bundles. I mean when they get just stock in of non-bundles.
I
don't know how that works. Maybe you're right. Maybe things have changed too much. Maybe now everything's a bundle.
I don't know. I also don't want to go to a physical store.
I mean, also, maybe consider just getting the digital edition, you know?
No,
Is
I want
4K that important to you? All right.
Well, I didn't get the disky PlayStation, so I feel like I deserve a disky Xbox.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. All right. No more hot gaming news? Was there anything else?
Wordle? I think that's it.
Yeah, Wordle. New York Times has announced that they will ban lewd guesses from Wordle. So, no more guessing boobs, no more guessing sluts, No more guessing tatas. No more
those are bad guesses,
guessing
but
nip-nops. That's actually too many letters. I guess nip-nop. No, that's too many. Nip-op. No guessing nip-op.
yeah, no
Sorry,
guessing
folks.
nip-op. It's a real bummer, but, we'll have to live without nip-op.
Is life without nip-op really a life worth living?
So they did migrate to the New York Times website. It's a little snappier. I'm just waiting for the paywall. Like, I don't trust you, New York Times. You suck.
Support free journalism. Okay. Moving on.
Did you say
Now is
support
this-
free journalism?
I mean, like free liberty, free to report, without being stopped. Because
I was going to say, they
people-
do deserve to make money. That's not the
Of
question.
course, no.
Wow, Vanessa. Calling
however-
out journalists on the show.
Yeah, journalists.
Come on, John, get into this. Why is Vanessa such a
Journalists,
journalism hater?
I'm calling you out. Do a good job. Thank you for your service.
All right, great. Well, this has been lively. Let's move on to our next most popular segment. Nay, our most popular segment. That's right. It's time to talk about how we leveled up. And this week, we're going to start with Johnny.
Hello. I'm leveling up by trying to make an account on nowinstock.net where it texts you. but
Johnny, don't.
I can't hear you when you mute yourself.
Sorry.
Don't what?
Don't do this.
Why not?
Don't go into a rant about the Xbox again.
Xbox?
The PlayStations.
This
All right.
this site sucks, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't. I was using create a strong password, and then it's like, oh, this password has special characters. Like, yeah, that's how strong passwords work. You shitty website. I'm not giving you my phone number now.
Yeah, just follow someone on Twitter. I'm sure you can find a Canadian dude who's like,
Yeah.
hey, Canadians, here's where you get the Xbox. Maple syrup.
Makes sense to me.
Oh, PS5
Ketchup on my mac and
restock,
cheese.
and then I guess I have to turn notifications on for them.
Yeah,
Aw.
that's what I did.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's done. So friends, I leveled up by watching a show that Vanessa recommended. And you know what? Vanessa was like, "Oh, you recommended it and you didn't listen to me." But it's like, no, I double checked with you if that show was good before I bought it, because I bought it on iTunes. Resident Alien. Vanessa recommends it. She thinks it's great. Go Vanessa, and she was right. I really like it.
It's got Alan Tudyk.
Mhm.
It's kind of a black comedy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's like imagine Alf, but Alf meets Breaking Bad. Because it's like things keep getting harrowing and like piling on worse and worse in that Breaking Bad way, but it's silly and goofy and fun and about an alien trying to fit in, so it's actually watchable for me and not something I have to not watch like Breaking Bad. Because Breaking Bad was too stressful for Johnny.
It's a good show. It highlights Alan Tudyk's skills, which are
Physical
sort of
comedy?
broad comedy. Yeah.
Mhm.
And funny voices.
Mhm.
And I believe, Johnny, this ends your years-long beef with
Yeah,
Alan Tudyk.
you know what? Beef with Alan Tudyk over. Now Alan Tudyk and I best friends. He's very good in this show. It's a lot of fun. Recommended. So yeah, go ahead, go watch Resident Alien. I think it's neat. And it's got what's her face, Linda Hamilton. She's a lot of fun. Everyone
Mrs.
loves
Terminator herself.
Mrs. Terminator herself. I also have been playing Dying Light with Jim, and that was fun. That's up to 4 players, so I gotta get Vanessa in on this. Although I think I don't know. I feel like State of Decay is more of a Vanessa game because it's got the base building and stuff. But Vanessa likes a parkour, right? She likes an Assassin's Creed.
Oh, sure. I parkour all over the place. It's my number one mode of transportation.
Yeah, it's weird. When I was hanging out with Vanessa in Unspecified City, all Vanessa did was parkour everywhere. And she's like, "Why aren't you keeping up with me?" And I'm like, "Vanessa, I don't know how to parkour. Look at my legs. They're tiny. I can't parkour." I also have been going to the gym again. Now that I'm at this new place, I can walk to the gym. It's great. I really like it. And also the gym's open 24 hours, so I can go in the middle of the night when no one's there. And they just play weird covers of popular songs. Like they had that version of Smells Like Teen Spirit that's like sad girl and it's dissonant, and I think it was used in some trailers and stuff. But that's
I think I know what you're talking about. I
it's-
thought at first they'd be playing like kids' bops from what you were describing.
no, it's just like
It
weird,
was used in.
sad versions of, but like to a dance beat.
Was it the new Matrix that they used it in?
Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
She's
You know what?
the one
That
who
I know what you're talking about, and I
Yeah.
hated it.
No, the music
And
is
I like
weird
covers, and
at my gym.
I'm not a fucking Nirvana stan, but like that was a bad fucking girl.
Matt, why don't you tell us about how you leveled up?
Well, as we forgot to talk about it when we talked about the Nintendo Direct, but there was a sneaky release of a triangle strategy demo, and it will carry your progress over to the full game if you choose to continue playing it. Triangle strategy is a I don't know who is it's Nintendo, right? No, it's Square, right? Somebody from Final Fantasy is involved. Gotta be, right?
It is a Square
No.
game with Art Dink. Art Dink.
What's an art dink?
They're a Japanese developer.
So it is Triangle Strategy is an upcoming tactical role-playing video game developed by Square Enix and ArtDink. Development is led by Tomoya Asano,
Who did
producer
the Bravely Default.
of the Bravely Default and Octopath Traveler
Yeah.
games. It's coming out in March, and it is that 2D, 3D style that we've seen in Octopath Traveler and the new Bravely Default. It does look very nice. I downloaded the demo. And it plays a lot like a Final Fantasy Tactics with the elevation, unlike the Fire Emblem games, at least the ones that I've played. This has more of a Final Fantasy Tactics style level design, which is something that that's what I prefer that a lot. I like the elevation. I like when you guys, I don't know, have you played Tactics before, John?
I've played Final Fantasy Tactics before, Matt. In
Thank
fact,
you, Vanessa.
even though the vote is not over, I have been playing it already. I'm in chapter 2, and my characters are around a level, like 25, and they're all ninjas. Is that bad?
No, that's great. Vanessa and I are longtime fans of that game, and I think John and Jim have both played a little bit, never really gotten too far into it. But anyway, Triangle Strategy feels like a modernization of that. There are other modernizations of that. There is a new Final Fantasy Tactics game on mobile, but it is smaller chunks of levels, which makes it super boring. And this does feel like it's going to have the big levels for you to climb all around and in, and buildings and pillars and mountains, and elevation matters, and it's fun. My only complaint would be that so far I've played it for 2 hours, and there's been one fight. If the talking to fighting ratio is what it is in the demo, we're going to have a problem. Also, the voice acting is trash.
Oh, no.
It's really bad. Now, it does have the auto-scroll option, like a lot of modern JRPGs, which is lovely. You can just sit back, relax, and listen to them poorly read the script. I mean, honestly, you kind of wonder, sometimes I wonder, would it be better to just have, like do what, like, a lot of audiobooks do and just have one person narrate the game, basically?
I've played games like that. A lot of walking simulators are like that. And they're pretty good.
You know what? That's not a terrible idea to cut down on voice acting costs, and then you can make sure that you hire someone that's really fucking talented.
Mm-hmm. Spend all of your money on like I don't know,
The
Ralph
folks, both of
Fiennes.
the both of the people that did the Wheel of Time books, who also have done a ton of other books that were amazing. I cannot remember their names. There's a ton of amazing British voice actors that do that, right? Anyway.
Hire Benedict Cumberbatch and he'll say Penguin, and it will go viral.
John, you played a little bit of Triangle Strategy today, didn't you? Can you share with us your thoughts?
That voice acting is, I mean, it's not Grandia. It's not, but one of, like, the main lead is so bad. Like, he is not a good actor, or at least not well directed. You know, yeah, it's probably direction or something, but his delivery is woof. But there is a volume toggle for voices, so you can just play it like an old game and turn off the voices, and I think that's probably...
You know what? With the auto scroll, I bet that's a delight. You just can go through it at your pace. I'm definitely going to do that when I turn it on next.
Yeah. I would maybe recommend doing if you find the voices bad. Some people have a very high tolerance for voice acting, though, and don't want to read.
Triangle Strategy, that's interesting. I also was not able last week to talk about something I really wanted to talk about because I had some technical difficulties that knocked me out of the episode for the night. But I watched a show called Reacher. Vanessa.
Yes.
Reacher.
Yes. Reacher round. Nailed it. I did it.
John?
I made the best
Zing.
Jack Reacher joke. I got him. Reacher, as I understand, in the books, was not like Tom Cruise. He's very big and can rip apart people with his bare hands, and his dick is always out. So is the show more like the books than the movie?
The books are very much written, I think it's super intentional. I don't think there's any doubt that the man is doing it on purpose. The Reacher books are basically Arnold Schwarzenegger, like a very large man that stomps around and just smushes people because he's so big. And they're also
like a
very
large man.
They're also very intentionally like they're that's that same genre of like, you know, action thriller basically. There's gonna be a mystery, and Reacher's gonna kill the Reacher, who is the giant man.
Is he gonna rewrite history?
Kill all the bad guys, and he's very much a like, you know, he's the smartest and the toughest, and it's a bit over the top. But you know what? They're enjoyable popcorn books, and I certainly haven't read all of them, but I've read a few. And no, the Tom Cruise movies, Tom Cruise does not. He just can't. You can't do. It just doesn't work. All right. It's not just that he's big. It's that informs a lot of the character, you know, and it also informs a lot of the visuals and the setting, and like that's just part of it. Like they're always describing how fucking big this guy is, and to have Tom Cruise step into the role didn't work. They're not bad movies. They're just not great.
Talk about his penis.
Reacher's penis is called Hammerstone, and it's always out. No. So anyway, Prime released a new 8-episode first season of a new show called Reacher, and it is based on the first Reacher book. And if you like an action-y movie about a man killing a bunch of people for revenge and whatnot, like righteous revenge, then go check out that Reacher show, because it does have really great action. It does have a really snappy script, like it's really tight. It's well acted. Everybody in it is great, I think. It's pretty obvious. Like there's, you know, a pretty cop that is really into Reacher, and we all know that they're going to bang by the end of the season, and a lot of stuff like that. But it is good. It's got an interesting mystery that keeps you going. And the only problem that I would say out of the entire season that I binged in like 2 days because I was so into it is that the last episode kind of botched it. They kind of messed it up. They kind of fucked up that last episode. It got weird.
It does sound like a character that someone wrote in high school when they were being bullied.
It is definitely not like... It is not subtle, you know? He's an ex-military, former MP. He's like a genius, and he's a Sherlock, but he's like the size of Big Show, you know? He's fucking huge, but hella smart. And he does solve the mysteries, but the thing is that with him, it definitely just comes down to then murdering everybody that he can get his hands on.
Who
And it was
plays
great.
him?
Alan Richson, I think is his name. He was in. He was most recently in Titans as Hawk, and the role that he was in as Hawk was terrible, but he's very good in Reacher, where he does not have to be Hawk. And yeah, he's not as big as he's not in the show. He's big.
Still Big Show.
No, he's not as big as they describe him in the books in the show. He's still not as big as he should be. But they make up for it with a lot of shots, you know. He looks big. He's always closer to the camera. He takes steps and they do a lot. Every time he takes a step, it booms, you know. They make him look a lot bigger than he is. Anyway, it was great. They kind of botched the last episode, unfortunately. There's like a big 30-minute climactic action scene that amounts to a bunch of people shooting at each other around literal cardboard boxes in a burning warehouse for way longer than anybody could stay in a burning warehouse. It was bad. It got real bad for some reason. But you know what? I'm willing to let it go. First season, every episode leading up to that was so good that like I don't even care. Like it was good. All right, so Jim wasn't here, so I decided to go on my Reacher rant. But now it's time for us to move in
to asking
Varrics.
Vanessa how she leveled up.
Oh, I thought you
Nope,
already leveled up.
She hasn't been.
I apologize, Vanessa. How did you level up?
My garbage disposal broke. Somehow it got some glass into it. My number one suspect is these mini jars of jam that I got for Christmas. Actually, I bought them for someone else for Christmas, but here they are in the house. I think maybe one of the jars fell into the disposal and then broke up in there. So I did have to get the glass out. I ordered a special Allen wrench, and I fixed the disposal all by myself.
Ooh.
It's actually not hard. You just have to get the special wrench. You put it in a hole at the bottom of the disposal and you turn it around until the jam is unclogged. Nevertheless, I was very proud. It's small victories that get you through the day sometimes. I also watched a movie called Marry Me on Peacock. This movie
What's that?
has... What's Peacock? Peacock is a streaming service.
Peacock?
You may... Peacock. You might
Peacock.
have... Peacock.
Peacock.
You might have it, even if you don't think you have it, because I don't buy it especially, but it is part of my cable package. And I think there's a free version as well that you can watch with advertisements. This movie had no ad interruptions because it was brought to you by the movie Ambulance, coming to theaters. I don't plan to go see it, but maybe you want to. This movie that I did watch, Marry Me, is about Jennifer Lawrence as a pop star.
Jennifer Lopez.
I'm sorry, Jennifer Lopez as a pop star, which is kind of a stretch for her. And she impulsively marries a stranger, Owen Wilson. And Owen Wilson's like, wow. Wow.
Oh, wait, no. Woe is Joey from Blossom. I was mixing those two up.
Wow. Wow. I'm married. Wow. Oh my God. Wow.
All right, this is unlistenable. Let's, so, did you like it?
Yes, it is a serviceable rom-com. The only problem I really had with it, well, two. Number one, the second act tension is contrived, as it always is in rom-coms, because it's always a problem where if they just sat down and talked to each other, it wouldn't be an issue, but nobody can communicate. That's problem number one. Problem number two. There is a scene where Owen Wilson, normal guy, is made to walk the red carpet for the first time in his life with his new wife, Jennifer Lopez. His posture is too good, and he looks way too comfortable. He slipped up. His, muscle memory of being a movie star took over, and you could just tell this was not a regular dude. I know my suspension of disbelief was shattered, and I could barely continue, but I did. Marry me. I don't know. Tomorrow's Valentine's Day. Just watch it. Wow.
Wow. All right, next up is...
Hang on. Vanessa failed to talk about the most important thing that happened to her today.
What was that?
What?
Saw them Doctor Strange nips.
I did. Listen.
Nips.
Now that, spoiler for Endgame is spoilered, I have to choose a new love. I have to choose a new Marvel Cinematic Universe love, and I guess I'm choosing Doctor Strange. It makes sense for me, right? I mean, he's a magician.
Yep.
He's
not a child like so many of the other ones.
Not a child like so many of the other ones. His hair is not floppy, but he has like a floppy cape, and that's kind of a substitute.
His hair's wavy. That's close to floppy.
Yeah, he has wavy
I bet his hair could be floppy.
It could, if he grew it out a little bit. I bet he could rock a flop. Certainly Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor, did in Sherlock. And he has got a nice house that has portals in it to other places in the world, which I find very convenient. So, yeah, I think Doctor Strange is the man for me, and was really excited to see those sweet nip-ops.
Nip-ops.
Wow.
Stop it. It's unlistenable.
Wow. All right. What is next? Time to get in to everybody's favorite segment, the quest log.
I gotta put some stuff in the dryer. I don't know. I don't think the microphone's sensitive enough to pick up. I now have a washer and dryer that play lovely little tunes, and mine just went like ding 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 ding. I don't know. It's some classical piano piece, like a Debussy or something. Debussy.
Well,
I understand, but I'm upset by it.
Anyway, you guys start. I'll be right back.
Well, there's really only two things to cover, and that is the Felicia DLC. I believe it's called Faith. Is that right?
It's not at all called Faith. It is called Mark of the Assassin.
Oh, okay. And we want to talk about our good friend Corypheus and the Legacy DLC. Vanessa, where would you like to begin?
I would like to begin. I'd like to begin with Legacy.
Alrighty. We are going to start by talking about Legacy. Both of these quests are accessible by walking into your house and looking at a statue that you have awkwardly jammed into a small room, and remembering the events of the thing. But once you do that, Hawk doesn't remember it. Varric remembers it as he's being interrogated, as he has been the whole game. How does that line up, Vanessa?
It's kind of funny because Varric is presumably being interrogated about what happened in Kirkwall and all of that. And so you have to kind of believe that during that interrogation, Cassandra was like, now wait a minute. I know I've been asking you about Kirkwall. But what about the time Hawk went to a party? Tell me about that. And what about the time Hawk explored his or her past through her father's actions?
Tell me about the time that Hawk remembered his first kiss. Because that's what this is for Matthew. No, not this one. I'm sorry. No, this is the
next
tell me
one
about
is.
the time that Hawk murdered a dark and ancient god.
So the time Hawk murdered a dark and ancient god, Hawk, we are led to believe by Varric, has been attacked by various members of the Carta, and Varric has tracked down where they are hiding out. Who did you bring with you in this?
I brought Varric, of course. I always bring Varric, and I brought Fenris and Anders, because that's basically my party. You know, that's just what it is. That's my party.
Yeah, you love that Fenris.
I do love my all-boy party, I guess.
Would you call it a boy band? I mean, it's a band of boys,
Yes,
right?
it is a band of boys. It's more of a band of men. It's a men band.
I've never heard of a men band. There's no such thing.
Okay.
So, we head out to the Vimark Wasteland. This place is canyonous, I guess you could say. It's not a lot of vegetation.
It's a rocky, craggy area.
It's rocky and craggy.
I mean, we're at the base of a mountain, right, or something, because we're about to go into some mines.
Into the mines, yeah. I brought with me my brother Carver because I played this during the first act of the game, and he was still with me. I think it's very good to bring your sibling if possible, because the story really is about your dad and can have a lot of implications for your relationship with your sibling.
I feel like you do get the option to bring your sibling even if they've gone to the Grey Wardens or Circle, but not if they've gone to heaven.
Interesting.
Because I'm
It
pretty
would have
sure
been
I
kind
had
of
Carver
fun to
with
bring
me
them.
when I did this.
Yeah. Not this time, because Carver doesn't exist in your world.
Well, he did. He exists, but once again, in heaven. And so
Right.
does
We played
Bethany.
it. I played it. Bethany's alive in mine, and she did come along, but not as like a party member. She like escorts you to this place.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But the Carta dwarves are attacking you all over, and they're all like shaven-headed little goblin-looking dudes, and it's pretty hilarious. And I feel like you do. I feel like they bounce when you hit them. Like it's definitely at this point, my twin snakes will explode a motherfucker, which is so funny.
Yeah, I finally learned. I kind of wish I could restart the game now that I know how to play rogue, because like I'm going to stealth. I left twin fangs until the end, and like, oh, you should get that early because it's a really good move.
Yeah, it's like his
Because-
best move. Because well, it's also you can go into stealth and then use it, so you can
get double damage and
Get
you can like one hit
critical
kill
damage.
bosses. It's really crazy.
Yeah, it's a good.
So yes, I kind of wish. Well, now I know how to play rogue.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to go back and replay this game.
I complained a lot early on about the rogue, but now that I'm late in the game, it is pretty fun. Like, I am able to bounce around the level just, like, exploding people, which is pretty fun. Mm-hmm. I do still wish, like, I could hack through a giant mob of people. But I have a decoy that I can use that everybody hits while I run around and cut their throats, which is pretty fucking funny, actually. Pretty entertaining.
Going through my screenshots, I have like a couple hundred screenshots, and a lot of them are from Legacy. And there is a thing that way too many of them are of the dwarves from the Carta dwarves, because they're the above ground dwarves, which usually don't have beards in Dragon Age, and they got like these big chins and cute noses, and I'm like, oh, look at these little dwarfo buddies, I love them. So yeah,
you got to kill a lot of them, and then there's also different enemies once you get into the caves, which are, what are they? They're ghasts.
No, there's no ghasts in this one. Ghasts are in the other one. There are new enemies though, and I really like. So, a lot of Dragon Age 2 uses Dragon Age 1 assets, but I guess this was Dragon Age Inquisition was already in development when this DLC came out. And so you have a lot of like the enemy designs from Dragon Age 3 for some reason, like all the dark roads, the dark spawn look like the Dragon Age 3 version. So like the what do they call? Okay. They all have lock. There's Genlock, and they're like big beefy gorilla men, right? They're the ones that have the like the alphas have shields.
Yes, the big
There's
shields.
The Herlock, which are like the tall strong men types, and they're all like sort of muscular undead. And there's a
Rhino
new enemy.
boys.
Yeah, the new enemy is the Brontos, which are real cute. They're adorable. I love them.
They're
And
like
both the Genlock Alpha.
They're like dog-sized rhinos that ram you.
Well, I think they're rhino-sized rhinos.
No, they're not that big.
They're pretty
smaller
big.
than Hawk.
No, they're bigger than Hawk. Well, they're longer.
I mean,
than
they're
Hawk.
bigger than Hawk, but they're not. They're not rhinos.
They're like a bull-sized.
They are like dog-sized.
Maybe
like large dog-sized.
Like a Great Dane?
Yeah.
Or a Mabari.
They're like Shetland pony-sized.
I think they're bigger than that. Vanessa, which size do you think Brontos are?
I think they're about the size of a rabbit.
Wait, what?
Wow. We were both wrong.
Yeah,
Vanessa,
I guess so.
Lore Queen, says they're the size of a rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
My only problem with the Legacy DLC is the introduction doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, first, why is Varric... Like, this just seems like a weird extra story that Varric decides to tell Cassandra when they're bored. Like, they're kind of done for the day. And the intro is like, well, it's like, you know, when a DM kind of forces you into a mission, is like, well, you've decided to show up at this location because you were being attacked. And don't question it. You're here now. Like, there's so little fanfare to get you to the Vimark Mountains. But it's fine. There's plenty of lore once you get there. In the form of people's diaries. Vanessa is fond of writing what happened to her today in her diary and then tearing out the page and leaving it around the house, which is kind of annoying because she expects us to clear it up.
Yeah, I expect you to enjoy the real-life interactive exploratory adventure that I have laid out for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can learn all kinds of things. You can learn what I had for lunch.
There's a lot of digs at us that I think that's general. Like, you kind of use it as a means of complaining about
I don't think that's true
our
at all.
house
I mean,
behaviors.
I decide in my personal diary to write down something that frustrated me during the day. I don't think that's something that you should take personally. Everyone needs a chance to vent. And obviously, if it was really an issue, I would bring it to you directly. So just because you keep finding notes that says Johnny is a disgusting pig man who won't rinse the dishes before he puts them in the dishwasher.
There's no need. It makes no difference, Vanessa. They are
It
cleaned.
makes such... you know what? You are not the one who has to get down there, take the dishwasher filter out. Yes,
But neither
they
are you.
have
You make Jim
filters.
do it.
Well, yeah, but I feel sorry for him. He's already living in the doghouse, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Why not work to make his life a little bit easier? What else has he got going for him?
That's true. So, this guy from the Carta runs up to you and is like, "It's the child of Malcolm Hawk. He's come to us. He's got his bloody blood in him."
Yeah, with me, they were like, "It's the Hawk blood, the brother and sister both. Yay!"
Yay! And they do attack you. They do seem to. They got like spooky eyes, like they got magicked eyes. They do seem a little bit like something's up.
Yeah, like they're high on magic.
Yes, exactly. Maybe they got lyrium poisoning or something.
I don't know.
So you make your way through you gotta solve some gate puzzles and get gate keys around all these journal entries. The journal entries around here, I think, are like Carta people saying, "Oh, let's ransack this place for treasure," and then they slowly like start listening to books on tape by this voice and are like, "Wow, that's a really good idea. I should harness my personal power."
I should harness my personal power, and I should find all the black, gross muck I can and just put it in my body and replace my thoughts with the black, gross muck.
Why don't you put it in your mouth? Why don't you stuff it in your face?
It's a beautiful song, and it should be a jingle for something.
It is. It's technically "Don't You Put It in Your Mouth," because it might look good to eat, because it might look good to taste. It's like one about kids not eating random things they find in containers, especially ones with Mr. Yuck on them.
Oh.
It was like a Canadian poison control commercial.
Did it work?
Yeah, no Canadian's ever been poisoned.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So you open up this gate and you get inside this deep, dark chamber. And one of the you're still being attacked by tons and tons of Carta dwarves. And then you run into one, and he seems a bit special. He seems like he doesn't really want to attack you at first. He wants to chat. And if you have Varric in your party, Varric's like, "Hey, it's Garev. What's up, buddy?" And he's like, "The hawk's blood, the master will rise. He will be free." And Varric's like, he doesn't normally talk about a master. It's his friend Garev.
Yeah. How does he know Gareth?
Well, Garev made Bianca. Garev was a crossbow maker and wanted to make a recumbent, I think it's a recumbent or repeating crossbow, but the only one he ever successfully made was Bianca. Anyway, so he does attack you because he's gone totally cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And he does attack you, and you do have to murder him, unfortunately. And Varric's a bit sad about his dwarf buddy being dead.
That's understandable, I guess.
Yeah.
But when the dwarf goes bad, you have to put him down.
What, do you?
No, I wish there was a different way.
Oh, okay. So then you do get to the end, and you're finding more clues about basically the Carta being led by this guy Randagast. Is that his name? Radigan?
Mm-hmm.
And
Radigan.
he's converting everyone to this religion about this master, and everyone's hearing voices and eating. Oh yeah, is it Radigan? Or no, it's Garev who talks about how he eats like darkspawn goo, right?
Yeah, they're eating taint.
Yeah, you shouldn't be drinking the delicious taint. It's bad for you.
Yeah, delicious taint eating is how Grey Wardens are made, but many of them don't survive that ceremony because you have to eat taint in moderation. And you want to make sure like it's the cleanest it can possibly be.
Yeah, like after it's been washed.
Yeah, have it be washed and cleansed. Only do it if you're sure that the taint you are eating is not polluted with some sort of outside factors. And then like chow down, but again, everything in moderation. If you eat too much taint, it's probably bad for the taint.
You also start finding some diary entries from Grey Wardens who sort of talk about this being a prison that's been abandoned, and they're coming to like investigate it. These also seem fairly old. You get to the leader of the Carta down here, and that's Radigan. And Radigan does say like, "Hey, we want your blood," and you're like, "Well, okay," and then he attacks you. And after you kill Radigan and his buddies, we should mention that I do like the traps in these areas. I guess the Carta's rigged up a lot of traps, but you can, especially if you have a sneaky party member, they can sneak and use them on the bad guys. Like they sort of set up encounters like that. Like there's Carta snipers that are standing in an area where you can spring a trap on them that does slice them to shreds, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's fun. You just have to get to the right lever.
And after you defeat Radigan, you do notice a glowy glow. It looks like it's coming from his tummy. And the glowy glow is the key that he's talking about. And it sort of morphs into whatever weapon your hawk is using.
This thing is awesome.
It's like it's a cool looking ancient, it reminds me of the Dwemer artifacts from Skyrim. Like that sort of crazy steampunk magic stuff.
Yeah.
I like it.
It is whatever you get, or it's whatever your class. So I got a dagger. Jim got a sword. Vanessa got a
staff, a big old ratty staff.
And throughout the dungeon, it'll give you several opportunities to upgrade the staff, which is super cool. We didn't talk about that when we recorded last night, I think, actually. I think we skimmed it.
No, yeah. That you can add, like, buffs to it that like, instantly stun people when you attack them, or add fire damage, or
you get three
all sorts of
opportunities to
damage.
add, like, three opportunities to pick from, I think, a list of 4 or 5 things. I think I just did, like, fire damage and then critical. I did a lot of critical because with a rogue, you want to be critical. Critical is all that matters. Better to
It's
up your
pretty
critical
neat.
chance and do chameleon damage.
So Hawk picks it up and says, I can feel it inside me. I'm like,
Ooh.
yeah, you can, buddy. Wink. So Hawk does go. You get to sort of, this is the second area, which is in the underground tower. They built a giant tower underground, and the Grey Wardens have been using this as a prison. You do also. This is where you start to see the dark spawn we were talking about before, because you get
Dark
rushed
spawn.
by a bunch of genlocks and herlocks and stuff.
Sorry to interrupt. I just remember that in Origins, my warden all the time would go, Dark spawn, whenever they appeared.
And she would be like, Husband Alistair, come defeat the dark spawn for me.
Ali, there's dark spawn.
And also at this point, your buddy, if you brought him with you, Anders starts getting some headaches.
Yeah, he's not feeling good.
He's hearing voices, and he's definitely freaking out. Like, he stops several times. You get a cutscene of him literally stopping and, like, holding his head and, like, talking to himself. And
I also for a little while, I brought Aveline with me, and she complained about it. She's like, I don't want to be here. I have guard duties I should be doing. I feel like this has nothing to do with me. I'm like, geez, Aveline, it's either you or Fenris. And Fenris just complains all the time, too. I also brought Sebastian. I was kind of surprised because a lot of times with the BioWare games, you have a DLC character. They don't say much. Like that one English mercenary guy from Mass Effect 2, he never says anything. But Sebastian has tons of dialogue in this DLC, and I thought that was great.
that's cool. I think that Fenris, Varric, and Anders make a great, like, conversation team.
Yeah.
The game makes it pretty clear that they're, like, all drinking buddies and stuff, and they're constantly, like, referencing drinks or the bar, or when they're not doing that, they're, like, having conversations about it. Like, Fenris will be like, anytime it's magic, Fenris is like, I hate this shit, and Anders is like, shut up, I love this shit. And then they'll bicker, and it's funny. And then Varric, when you got Varric around, he's a real Matt. Like, he just wants to sit back and be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna stir the pot and say something sarcastic every once in a while.
I also like Matt
Magic
observed,
is so cool.
Matt observed before, this is a bit like the Tales skits, except that they are incorporated. They're basically, as you're exploring, you get the skits instead of
They're
having
much
a
better
break.
incorporated. I mean, it's not the same. I get that the Tales skits are a lot longer, but I really can see how... I've been playing Divinity 2...
Okay.
Original Sin, and I could see how that does it too a little bit, but I could see how, like, this does it better than that as well, I think. But, like, I could see how incorporating it into that could really, like, beef something like that up. Though Divinity 2 is already, there's a lot going on.
Right. Vanessa, did you have any fun? Who did you bring for yours? I know. Sorry, I know you should bring.
I brought
Carver.
Carver. He was happy to be there. I did bring Isabella at first, but then there's one opportunity to swap out your party. So I swapped out for Varric because it was clear that he was meant to be there.
Yeah, I mean,
And
anything
then I did have
dwarf-centric.
Anders.
Yeah. Did Isabella have at least anything funny to say, or was she kind of quiet?
Not really, no.
Huh.
Yeah, she was a disappointing choice. I think that she probably was the one that people least expected to be brought, so there wasn't much for her to do.
Yeah, I feel like she's not a great character in this game. Like, you've got... Varric is already a rogue. I know he's not a dagger rogue, but, like, you don't need 2 rogues in your party.
Yeah,
if
and
you're
then there's
playing
Sebastian,
a
who
rogue,
is
then
also
you're
a
kind of
rogue.
like, if you're playing a rogue, then you're also like I like Vimark a lot, so I guess I will play with 2 rogues in my party. Like, and it works. Like, we do a lot of damage. Vimark's attacks are different, but like, if you're a rogue, you're not doing 3 rogues, and you're not picking Isabella. Like, Vimark's your best bud.
You could literally, if you play your cards right, have a party of 4 rogues. You could have Varric, Sebastian, Isabella, and you if you were a rogue. But
And
you wouldn't.
why?
I mean, I
want to
wonder.
do
I wonder
that.
how it would work. I wouldn't recommend it. Like, I gotta use those heals. Like, I gotta have Anders. Nobody else has decent heals. The elf mage has some heals, I think,
No, I don't think she does.
but I think they hurt her.
Oh, that's right. It's interesting.
She is
they're
awesome
kind of
with her
going
rock
away
armor
from
and stuff, though. I love that shit.
like in Dragon Age 3. There's no healing magic. There's only those potions you get. They basically make it like Dark Souls, and that was a weird choice.
That's obnoxious.
Well, I think they
I'm
because
kind
they
of
felt
dealing with that in Divinity as well. Like, we've got some potions, but I don't know how to heal otherwise. I have to take the characters and lay them down in bed one at a time. Dr. Steven Stone or some of our other listeners can maybe hop onto the Discord and explain to Matthew what he's doing wrong.
Yeah. So you meet these Darkspawn. After you kill these Darkspawn, you do get a guy who I think he's been doing his own haircuts during the pandemic because his hair doesn't look super great. And this is Larry.
Larius. Larius.
Oh,
Yes.
Larian.
Larius was like the king of the wardens, but he did get too old or go crazy or whatever it is that forces him to go suicide down in the deeps.
Gets
And
the
he-
calling.
He ended up here and didn't die and is now kind of a zomboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of more of a
Zomboy.
magic-y zomboy and less of like a flesh-eaty zomboy, but he's kind of a zomboy.
Yeah.
He's
got
kind
glowy
of those,
eyes.
like milky eyes.
Yeah.
His
And he
beard
does
is a little
shuffle.
patchy.
You know, milky, glowy eyes. He rubs
He
his
does
hands
walk
together like
like
Mr.
a-
Burns.
Like a Renfield.
Yeah, he's very much
He's
a
not
Renfield.
looking great.
No. But he's wearing Grey Warden armor, and he's down here, and he's been down here for a long time. He's been down here. He's so dark spawny at this point that he does blend in and does not get attacked by the dark spawn. He won't
Yeah.
help you in fights. He kind of runs away when fighting happens, but he will he just sort of comes in and then gives you advice, and he's like, "Hey, we use this tower. It's got these seals, and they're sealing away Corypheus, but his like thoughts are breaking through. I can hear him in my head, and he's talking to me. We got to kill him for real. So we got to break all these seals and let him out a little bit to heal him." It doesn't seem like a
just let
great
him out
idea.
a little bit. Let him out, and then we can kill him. And he kind of shuffles around like in a very Igor-ish kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And he says like, "Oh, the only way through is down and in, deeper,
I
deeper,
thought
down
that
below."
he was going to betray us and be Corypheus's Renfield, but that's not really what happens.
It's
Not
what
really.
they set up, but then, I
Yeah.
guess it's a misdirect because then Corypheus does have a Renfield, but they don't act like a Renfield.
I kind of like that. I kind
Yeah,
of like that.
it's a
Goes-
good-
It zigs.
Zigs.
It zigs. So you also find these like little puzzles. I mean, they're sort of like find the hidden button puzzles that your dad left because your dad locked up these demons in prison so they could think about. He put these demons on timeout basically so that they would think about what they did.
Mm-hmm. If you do all of these, you get his will or something like that, which you can give to your sibling as a gift. And there's a special scene about that.
Oh, so I've got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
In the timeline of, is this before Hawk Dad met Mom?
No, in fact, explicitly not, because
Okay.
as we go through, we learn about why Dad did this, and it seems that he did not really want to be involved, but the Grey Wardens found out that he was a mage who was capable of doing this, and they threatened to kill Mama Hawk if he didn't do it.
Oh, that's right. They do explain. That's like right at the end that they explain that. You're right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he took a little break from his family to go help the Grey Wardens here in
Mm-hmm.
these prison. So it's like basically the Grey Wardens I don't think they built this tower. This is like ancient you start finding out these are like ancient Tevinter ruins, and they've repurposed them as a big prison for this big baddie demon friend,
Yes.
who I think was already in prison when. Oh no, it's the first Grey Wardens locked him in there. That's what happened. Okay, I know what happened. I'm smart.
I thought Malcolm locked him
You're
in there.
smart.
Oh, Malcolm, but he was still. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get to the end, because he's been locked up since. He hasn't been out since the old times, so I don't think he met Malcolm.
Then what's Malcolm got to do with all this?
I think
They had-
Malcolm,
What's
every now and
Malcolm
then,
got to do? Got to do with it. Vanessa.
every now and then they have to reset the trap.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And he used his own blood to set these traps, and that's why Carta is here. Okay.
Yeah. Carver is pretty anti-blood mage, like rabidly.
I mean,
And
it
so
seems
when
like
he found
everybody
out-
should be, right?
It doesn't seem
yeah.
like a bad policy.
Probably. But Carver's like, every time mages give in and use blood magic, it always happens. Nobody can resist it, not even Father. It seems sort of like the Force, doesn't it? Like how
Yeah.
the concept that the dark side's always stalking you and
But
you have to be vigilant.
somebody makes a good point that they're also, these people are always pushed to it. Like, stop persecuting them and pushing people into when people are pushed into a corner, they might do like horrific shit, but don't push them into a corner, you know? That doesn't excuse the blood magic, but it does. Maybe we could eliminate the blood magic by being more empathetic towards them in the first place, and
And there's a
giving.
difference between excusing and explaining.
So each floor of this first little prison tower is a lock, and it's a lock that you can undo with your key, which is the weapon you got. And when you undo this lock, you do fight a big old monstrosity. And the first one's pretty simple; it's just one. But as you go forward, they do like split into multiple ones, and I think you have to find the correct one. I wasn't totally sure how those battles were working because I destroyed them pretty fast. And each time you defeat one, you do get to choose a little prize. And your prize is different bonuses for your key. It's great. I like it.
I feel like I probably should have thought more about which bonuses I was choosing and what would be the best, but I just kind of went with my gut.
Yeah, it's fine. It's super powerful. It ends up being, I think, the most powerful weapon in the game. And that's cool. So you get to the bottom, or I guess the top. I don't know. I get really confused by directions in this part. You get to the top bottom of the tower, and then at the top bottom, you do exit it and then run into another group of Grey Wardens that are here to help.
Yeah, and they're nice and healthy. They just got there. They're led by Janica, and she's like, hey, that Larius you're with, he's a terrible golem. Probably you should dump the chump and get with me, because we are going to make Corypheus work for us.
And I realized I should have joined her just to see what that side of this quest was like, but I didn't. I forgot that I should have taken the naughty route.
And Larius is like, don't do it. She's been listening to Corypheus. Obviously, she's totally corrupt. Nobody can resist him.
And she is part of the blue Grey Warden team, and the blue Grey Warden team are like the rich kids, and they're kind of making fun of like the shabby clothes that Larry's wearing and your gang, and they're like, you'll never make it to regionals. We're going to get there first. And you get to watch them like cheating. Like they set off some weird traps that like seal you into a room. They're just not playing fair, Vanessa.
They're not playing fair. It's not cool. And even if they do win, like, on the evening of the competition, I'm pretty sure they're going to be disqualified for unsportsmanlike behavior.
It's true. Janica's like, you losers are never gonna make Corypheus. Oh yeah, her whole deal is that she's like, so Corypheus is like cool, and like he's been talking to us, and he says like he'll help us out and like help us defeat. He'll be like the super powerful person that'll help the Grey Wardens be like powerful again. So get out of the way, losers.
I didn't realize that she realized she was talking to Corypheus. But
I
she
think she
does. Her
does.
plan is to release him, but control him. She thinks she's got something, and we know that Corypheus is telling her that she's got something that will control him, but won't. But she seems convinced that she will.
Because we've played this game and every other Dragon Age game, and every time a demon says, "Oh, I'll be your friend. I'll be like the genie from Aladdin,"
Well,
and just sing
is-
songs with you.
Is Corypheus a demon?
Well, we'll get there. 'Cause
Okay.
that's an interesting question.
Okay.
Because they seem to think Corypheus is like an old god, but he kind of isn't, but kind of is. I wish Jim was here because Jim knows the lore real well, but so does Vanessa.
He's not.
so-
He's one of the stewards or whatever. He's one of the...
yeah, the magisters.
Yes.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that. Yeah, we're not there, but we're almost there. So you go through this whole dungeon. There is a puzzle. Vanessa loves a BioWare puzzle, and this is
I
a
love
real
a BioWare puzzle. This is a classic. This appears in other games too.
Dragon
this
Age
is,
1.
This is Light Direct, where you manipulate mirrors to bounce a beam of light around the room. You have to make it so that 3 separate beams are all touching each other, and then the door will open. It was pretty fun.
I quite enjoyed this BioWare puzzle. It was a good break. So you make it through there, then you got a couple more seals to break, and you're finding out more. Now, at this point, you're getting like journals from Corypheus, who does seem to be a magister from Tevinter times.
Like the Tevinter Empire, here's your brief history, was one of the first human civilizations in Thedas. It seems like they were ruled by mages, and they are widely believed by the Chantry to be the cause of the Blight. They did this when they decided to invade the Golden City, where the Maker sits on his throne, essentially heaven. And the moment they passed through the gate, the city turned into the Black City because they had defiled it.
Well, I
That's
thought that
the
was
story.
a story told to frighten children.
It depends. I
you
mean,
know,
if
do
you
your
devout,
homework,
then-
or you'll be part of the Black City, and the Blight will
Yeah.
come.
Interestingly, when you're in the Fade, in this whole series, you can often see the Black City way off in the distance.
Oh, that's
And
neat.
people will tell you, you can see it from anywhere in the Fade, but you can never get to it.
So you get to the top, and then one thing I like is there's a bunch of viewpoints around the tower, and you can sort of see Janice and her ski team like laughing at you as they are like racing to regionals and always like pushing things in your way. And you're like, oh, that Janice or Janica, sorry. Janica. And you get to the top, and then Janica's like, look, we need your blood. We don't need you. So how about we just extract it? And she does try to fight us. Now, at this point, I'm like level 22, and she is not. So she was turned into Pink Mist by our daggers and arrows and such.
She's like, I'm the best. I'm the best. And then you basically, like, you do a pyramid with your party and a basket drop off the top of it. And she's like, oh my God, we've never mastered the basket drop. And she just crumples in humiliation.
So Janice is defeated. And then is it Janice that squeals on Larry? I think it is, right? So she does say like, oh, by the way, Larry was like, the only reason he got Hawk to help out was because he was like, hey, if you don't do this, we're gonna murder your family.
She's like,
And
Larry's not cool either.
mhm. So you have the option at this point to betray Larry or be like, well, he did what he thought was right. I kind of forgave Larry. It's fine. Don't worry about it, buddy.
I wasn't like cool with it, but I was like, let's just deal with this Corypheus thing and then see what happens.
Mm-hmm. So you defeat Janica. You take out your dagger. There's a real good cutscene of you like walking over the glyph that is holding Corypheus in his prison, and you do cut your hand and bleed all over it. And slowly, Corypheus comes out, and instead of being like a big menacing monster, he's like just confused.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, he's
Kinda-
like, it's me, the Magister. Why aren't you bowing down? Hello?
Kind of.
Uh,
This fight's so super hard that I was annoyed that if he popped out all sleepy, we didn't just stab him immediately. Immediately with a stab probably would have been a great idea. And in fact, they talk about that. They're like, hey, let's get him while he's waking up. And then instead, they sit around for a little while and they're like, all right, you good now? You good? You ready to fight?
I like that as Corypheus is ranting at you, like your party takes asides to like talk about him too. Like, what does this loser think he's doing? But he also like what he's talking about is like super Dragon Age lore. He's like, yeah, we figured out we built this tower to get to the Golden City, and we got there, and now we're gonna be kings, and this amazing. But so Corypheus was the one that started the first blight, and
he also claims that the throne was empty. He's like, we got to the Golden City and there was nobody sitting on the throne.
oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Because at that point, because he was praising Dumat the whole time. Like, there's all these altars to Dumat that you can like choose. You can find these 4 items to get a bonus thing, or you can, as Jim chose to do, just sweep all these bowls off the altar and then fight some monsters. I
Like
suggest
you were about to lay Alistair down on it.
Wow.
You know, when you're like, Alistair, come into my office, and then he's like, yes, my love, and then you're like,
Oh, Vanessa's got some
wait.
problematic power
Sweep.
play fantasies.
It's her
I say
husband.
he worked for me.
Yeah, it's
My
her husband.
home office.
It's like, come here, sweetie. Mommy needs you.
I sweep everything off the desk, and then I look at the desk, and I'm like, so let's go to the bedroom now. 'Cause I'm not getting on that desk.
Yeah. Do you know how that would make my knees feel? Not good.
Well, I mean, Vanessa, you do know parkour.
Just because I know parkour doesn't mean that I don't appreciate a nice cushy surface.
That's true. So you then he starts getting some memory. He's sort of groggy, but he sort of realizes what has happened, and he knows that you are there to shut his thing down. So you got to fight him in a really cool, like, I've never played World of Warcraft raids, but I feel like this is sort of inspired by those kind of fights, because it's all about positioning and moving your people around.
Boy,
It's
I don't
like
think
the
that
big
the
raid
World
boss
of
fight.
Warcraft raids are that complex. I think it's just about having a bunch of people throwing the same shit at them.
Well, I know in Final Fantasy XIV, like, this is how the boss fights work, is just like this, where you kind of have to avoid like super deadly beams and stuff.
That's
and make
interesting.
Sure yeah. So it's
Sounds
a
like
lot
I'll
like
play
this. There's 2 phases to this fight. Phase 1, you're attacking him, and phase 2, he's spinning around, shooting fire. And the secret, because both Matt, Jim, and I died a million times. I think Vanessa didn't have as hard a time. You basically, as soon as you can't damage him anymore with weapons, you got to go next to one of these statues, because he draws power from these 4 statues around the altar that do let him do his fire spinny attack. And so you got to like break the gems of the statues and then fight a couple of shades on each one while avoiding the slow spinny fire, because that will annihilate your team immediately. And especially on the consoles, I think it's really hard to wrangle your troops to not be in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a way on consoles to like tell people to stop walking. Feel like
Yeah.
just stay here.
Yeah, you can.
And that's basically what you have to do.
Yeah, they'll come towards you, so like you can just kind of like jam yourself into the corner and they'll follow you to the corner.
During the
Because
when the shades
that
came
command
out,
thing does not work very well.
when the shades come out, Varric wanted to like walk back into the path of the fire, and I'm like, no, Varric, come back. You gotta stay away from that. And so then you do this basically a few times. You break all 4 statues, and then you can damage Corypheus again. But each time he does the fire spinny, he adds another thing. Like first he has fire, then he has fire and rocks, and the rocks like put up obstacles in your path. And then he has fire and rocks and lightning, and the lightning puts these barriers in the way, so you have to avoid those. And then you can finally stab Corypheus to death, unless you are Matt, and then his last millimeter of health doesn't tick down for some reason.
I complained about this last night. This took me multiple tries to beat, which I am playing on casual mode, and I am at level like 22 at this point, maybe 21. When we talked about it last night with Jim, he said he was at level like 17, and this guy just kept wiping me out. Now the problem was, my idiot AI companions were literally just standing in the fire, walking through the fire along with the fire. Like, they were killing themselves. It was nonsense. I did, on one of my deaths, I got him all the way down to a literal sliver of health. Nothing but the smallest sliver you could see. And was using all of my most powerful attacks on him, and just he would not go down. I literally went on so long, it went on for a few minutes until I realized, like, this is bugged or something, and just let him kill me. It was a frustrating fight, but I got through it by being slow and patient and hiding my guys in a corner when his fire came by. And killing the shades one at a time, I guess, and backstabbing him a lot.
I can't believe you'd stab him in the back. Like, he seems like a kind of nice guy, you know?
No, he
has his
doesn't. He
issues,
talks
but-
down to you, and
Well,
he thinks that you're all dwarfs. He thinks because you're humans, you're dwarven slaves. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of like,
He's like a problematic grandpa.
yeah, like, but you know, sort of powerful and
Oh no.
a magician.
it does
Vanessa,
kind of make you wonder, like, do we have to, like, kill, like, is he evil? It's not 100% clear here. Like, sure, like, he's one of the first magisters and all that stuff and everything that he did, but, like, I don't know, were they told not to do that?
We've not even described him. It looks, you know, there's those magic demons that you fight sometimes. I think they're called like abominations that have like super long spindly hands. He's like those, but he's got a kind of human face with a helmet on, but also his face kind of merged with the helmet on one side.
Yeah.
It's a really cool, creepy character design.
Mm-hmm.
And if you played a Dragon Age 3, or Dragon Age Inquisition, you might recognize him because he's big bad of Dragon Age Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
This is
What? But we kill him.
He is.
Or is
But I killed him.
He is.
Or is he?
But I killed him.
So you do kill him, and depending on what key you have, basically what class you are, you get a different cutscene. Like the rogue throws the dagger into Corypheus's eye and then like grabs it out and like squishes it in, and a warrior like sweeps him with the blade and then buries it in his head. And I think, Vanessa, you said the mage cooks him with the key, like to crisp.
Yeah, I think sort of like brings everything down upon him. Like just like, rah, magic, flare, bomb, ceilings, everything.
Ooh. And so he's totally dead. The end. It must be someone else in Dragon Age 3.
Mm-hmm.
Because
And then our friend Larius comes up. He's looking fine and healthy. And he's like,
surprisingly fine.
yeah, he's like, how do you do? Thank you so much for freeing me from my prison, by which I mean my metaphorical prison that I was in.
Well, he was
Because I
trapped
was
in
not
a
feeling
literal
well.
prison.
Yeah, I was literally trapped I think that you all are great servants. I mean, people,
Friends?
friends,
Dwarf slaves? I mean,
dwarf slaves. And now I shall move on to somewhere else where I shall do very good things.
Bring, bring.
Farewell,
Oh, I have a
long
phone
live
call.
to winter. Yeah.
I have to go. Bring. And
So everything seems fine.
yeah, your Hawk's like, one of the things you can say is, why are you talking like that? And Varric's like, that's weird. He does seem to be walking normally now. And didn't he say that, like, killing Corypheus would make him die? He seems okay.
yeah.
Better than ever, even.
Yeah.
Well, Corypheus is dead. No more questions. You do get a couple of final cutscenes as you leave the spooky, evil lair. Vanessa, you have a cutscene with Carver?
Uh-huh.
What happened?
And you're like, Carver, I know you've always, like, felt bad because Dad's a mage and I'm a mage. And he's like, yeah, whatever, goodbye. I would have gotten a better ending if I had gotten that will. I didn't do it, Johnny.
Oh.
I didn't feel like undoing my dad's seals. It seemed like a bad thing to do.
And Matt got a cutscene with Bethany, I guess. I got a cutscene with
Andrews
Gamlin,
isn't a hypocrite.
where Gamlin like talks about how your father was like the first time your father and your mother met, and how your mom would be super proud of you, and you do like he reminisces about how they like. It was love at first sight when he was there for like some kind of circle display doing magics like David Copperfield.
Whoa.
And your mom, just like Vanessa, was immediately enthralled and did go out to the balcony to... Okay, this is not what happened to child Vanessa and David Copperfield. This is different.
I was a very little girl. I was wearing
yeah.
a little sailor dress. I was
Yeah,
such
aw.
a tiny little girl.
But
But he did wink at me.
He did wink at you, but a grown-up mom and your magician dad do go out and smooch on the balcony, and Gamlin's like, I had to wait for them to talk on the balcony for hours. And then, depending on what time in the game you do this DLC, because you can do it anytime you have access to the house, Gamlin's or your house, you either talk to your mom about your dad, or you have you imagine what talking to your mom would have been like. And you like zone out for Hawk just stares into space and has a nice little fireside chat with mom about what dad was like and how proud he would have been. It's a very sweet moment.
Gamlin...
That does sound sweet.
Yeah, Gamlin... I had a nice moment with Gamlin at the house where he did say something similar. He was like, I didn't think that... Basically, he's like, I didn't think your dad was worth a damn, but seeing you, I guess he was worthwhile. I guess it was worth it because you're the champion.
Mm-hmm. And you got us this big house and everything.
Well, he still lives in his little apartment.
That's right. He does still live in his hovel.
He likes his
but,
little apartment. It's not even that bad.
Yeah.
Hovel?
Yeah.
It's bigger than my house!
It does have 2 bedrooms, it seems like, and a living room.
Oh, bigger than Johnny's
No
house.
internal plumbing. That's kind of an issue for me.
Well, that's just the time, They wear onions on their belts. So is that it? Did we talk about Legacy? We did it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then it's time to talk about everybody's favorite side quest, the Felicia DLC.
Felicia DLC.
Yay! And you start out with a invitation to talk to assassins, and they start talking to you, and they're like, yeah, we actually just lured you here to kill you, because we're assassins, you dum-dum. And they're about to kill you when suddenly they start dropping dead.
Mm-hmm. And who should leap out of the shadows but TV's own Felicia Day?
Felicia Day? Now, you might remember that she did have a live action web series where she played this character for Dragon Age. So this character looks eerily like an Uncanny Valley Felicia Day with elf ears.
Mm-hmm. It's just Felicia Day with elf ears. She doesn't do a special voice.
Nope.
It's just Felicia Day's voice with elf ears. If you ever watched a TV show called Supernatural, I think, Johnny, you're familiar. She was on that show as like a LARP girl. And it seems very much like she's here LARPing as an elf.
Yeah, she's sort of her character from the Guild, too. And she's role-playing as an elf, like a zany Whedon-esque, although that's now bad. If you were going to say Whedon but don't want to say Whedon, how would you describe that? Like what's the name of those people that do the Marvel movies? Page?
Kevin Feige.
Feige.
A sort of James
quippy.
Gunnish, kind of.
Yeah. She's a quippy assassin lady.
Vanessa.
Yeah.
This conversation about Felicia Day reminded me about my most favorite piece of trivia about the Jack Reacher show. Can we go back to Matt's level up for a moment?
Yes, please. I hope it's going to be about how his penis is out all the time. I did hear that about the books. I'm not just saying that.
Floppy Hog.
The actor that played Reacher did cameo in, like, not really cameo, but did guest in the show New Girl back in the early 2010s, or whenever that show was on the air, as a man that dated Zooey Deschanel, but she had to break up with him because he had a micro penis.
Oh! I have heard that men with micro penises make more effort than anyone else in the bedroom, and that it is very good to date a man with a micro penis.
Wow. Cut that. It's the most disturbing thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Hate it.
Well,
It's just
that's just
a
what I
thing.
heard.
It's just someone's body. I wouldn't be that. It's fine. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry, buddy.
Thank you, John, for telling me not to worry about micro penises. I thought that was a funny fun fact, particularly considering the comment that I sent you about Jack Reacher's giant penis. Listeners, she's referencing a thing that I sent her that was... Oh, I can't even describe it. Let's just move on.
Please do. So
Wow.
Felicia Day joins you to attack all these, I think they're Antivan crows that are attacking you, and you wipe them out, and she's like, hey, actually, I was wondering if you could help me on a side quest. And you're like, I love side quests, and I paid money for it, so I wouldn't say no. And so she's happy to hear that. What's her side quest about?
Felicia Day? LC? She needs help stealing a gem called the Heart of the Many from an Orlesian lord. And you have to go to this Orlesian lord's manor. He's invited you to a party, and you accept, where you're going to hunt wyverns and then prance around a dinner party and then steal the jewel right out from under their noses. I found the fact that the Orlesians are just all French very weird.
I like it. The Orlesians are like from Spain, the Orlesians are from France, and the Antevans are from Spain. I don't know. There's something, it adds texture. Not everyone just speaks English, and I like that too.
I like the Orlesians because they have a overly complex fantasy social system that involves wearing masks and winning favors and things like that, and I like that shit.
And I guess your mom used to go summer over there too, which gets mentioned a lot in the DLC, which is pretty fun. Mm-hmm. And The reason that you have an invite is because you're like a noble. You got a house, and that's why you got an invite. And she needs your help to steal this thing, and you're like, well, I do like stealing because I am a rogue, so let's do it. And you head off with Felicia Day to Orlais.
Or day.
And you get there, and Frenchman's like, oh, I did not think, the Baron, he's like, I did not think that you would come because you kept rejecting my hunting. This is for a big hunt. You do not want to do hunting, and then now you decide you do want to do hunting, and you're like, I rather do like hunting, so let's do a hunt. But normally I hunt humans.
Lol, 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 lol.
That's the sarcastic response you get, which is a little disturbing, but accurate.
I was just like, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm Hawk. I am very fancy and do belong at your fancy party.
He is a fancy lad.
Yeah, and then we get to go hunt some wyverns.
Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, the first part is that you're in this real BioWare open zone where the point is to find and defeat a wyvern before anyone else does. There's another evil French ski team there that thinks they can do it better than you. Both these DLCs have evil ski teams. Well, one's more of an evil cheer team, and this is more of an evil French ski team.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's another Frenchman who's like, you are bullshit. You will not do this.
So the first thing we have to do is hunt a wyvern before we can get into the castle where the Heart of the Many is being kept. The
Chateau Inn.
Oh, all of the guests are hunting this wyvern, and you have sort of two screens of pretty extensive valley to look around in. As you go through, you run into different colorful characters, like a man who has lost his dog, Scholar Man, other people.
Yes, there are a bunch of little side quests here. There's a whole one about this sky cult altar that you can mess with, and I kept dying. I don't know, I was having problems with that fight. If you start messing with the altar, you get all these super hard enemies who can like cast death magic on you, and that sucks. But then if you talk to the scholar, he's like, oh, there's a bunch of things you have to do at this altar to make it less dangerous, but it's all, of course, pretend. He doesn't think it's real. However, you find the sky altar, and if you do the ritual, I guess you have a less difficult version of the fight that I still couldn't beat for whatever reason. Maybe if I'd done Legacy first.
I don't know if he was actually left difficult or if I just was more prepared the second time around. I'm not sure.
Right. So you have the Duke, Prosper de Montfort. He's like sort of a snotty. He's not as mean as the other, that jerk one.
Yeah.
Who keeps trying to tell you how shitty your hunting is. So you find all these different clues about summoning a wyvern or finding a wyvern to hunt. You find like things they eat, like food piles, bones. You can find different things to lure them. And at one point, you do find that they are attracted to the sound of nugs mating. And Felicia Day does tell you that she can do a perfect nug mating call, but she won't do it until the time is right because it's very embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. You also find droppings and stuff. It gets pretty gross.
Mm-hmm. You also find those little ghasts. They're like gremlins or ghoulies or critters. What are some other like little murderous creatures from 80s movies?
Gremlins, ghoulies, critters, goblins?
Maybe. And Jim described some from, what was that? Some from ElfQuest or some from
ElfQuest?
Some fantasy thing. And it's like, or maybe it was Matt, and they were exactly that. I was like, oh yeah, that's exactly what those ghasts are. Because they're little imps, and they chuckle. They're like the Hobbs from Fable,
Oh, yeah.
just like those Hobbs.
They're like, yeah.
We're gonna attack you.
And they make fun little attack sounds. So they're probably my favorite part of the DLC was fighting those little guys because they're really fun.
They're also very much like the little guys from the Skyrim expansion, where you go to that island and they're the little guys there.
Mm-hmm. Skyrim. Oh yes, yeah. What are those guys? I forget what those guys are called, but I love that quest. That's the one where they took over an old brewery and
they're
they
in the
became
mead
a
hall.
king.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun
And he's
one.
like, you will help.
Mm-hmm. So the evil Baron is Arlon. She's the jerk. The Duke is Montfort.
Mm-hmm.
So you find all the clues, and then depending on how many of the different lures you use, you'll get a different level of wyvern. Or okay, this is another Minotaur. Again, I don't remember which one's the correct one. Because I always say wyvern.
Wyvern.
What do you? Yeah, I say wyvern, but again, it was something I read in fantasy novels and didn't hear spoken. So it's just like that. So you can lure the wyvern in using as many of the things. If you use all the ones that are available on the map, you will fight a special alpha wyvern.
Mm-hmm. I did use all of the ones.
There is a 2-minute long moment, since one of the lures is doing the Nug mating call, where Felicia Day does Felicia Day around for 2 minutes with a motion captured scene of her doing like a chicken dance and going like "Nucka ducka 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 duck." She keeps telling you to look away, but you can't.
Mhm.
She's like, "Don't,
It's too
don't."
fascinating.
Okay, Vanessa, I know we've sort of talked about this before, and I did falsely claim you called her a fake gamer girl. How do you feel about Felicia Day? Do you find her charming?
I feel fine about Felicia Day. I don't have a particularly strong attachment to her. I think that what I've enjoyed her in the most is Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. Yeah, I don't know anything about her really. I know that she is in the gaming world, but that's all I know. How do you feel about Felicia Day?
I watched a few seasons of The Guild, which was her, like, she made this web series that also, I think, got some released by NBC and stuff on various, like, early stream. It was an early streaming show, because I think it was on like one of the first shows on Netflix, too. Mm-hmm. And it is a lot of fun. I think she's very charming. I really like her. I can't say when, like, I don't think I knew who she was until... because I didn't watch the episodes of Buffy she was in. She was in like the last couple of seasons, and I didn't watch all those. So
Oh, that's right.
I don't remember her from that. But I just find her charming. Like, she's so good in Mystery Science Theater. I think that's my favorite thing she's in.
So great, and I'm right there with you. I never watched The Guild. I don't have a lot of background with Felicia Day, other than clips online. But she's phenomenal in Mystery Science Theater. So I'm already given to kind of like her, And it doesn't hurt that she's real good looking,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's like, for me, at first I didn't think I would like the bear guy from Peacemaker, but after like getting to know him and how charming, watching him dance, I think was what did it for me. Steve G. It's like, I like someone, if he can be a goof like that, to me,
I mean, Steve Agee is like a comedy guy.
I've never seen him in anything else.
He always kind of plays this, but I feel like he was on one of the D&D podcasts for a while. I could be wrong.
Okay. Well, he just seems like the kind of guy like I could cuddle up to and get to know and like go on fun dates with. And I think Felicia Day kind of the same.
Jim put it as like girl next door, I think. But she's not I don't know. I don't want to get gross, you know?
Yeah, let's not get gross. Let's move on. She's the Stevie G for straight guys who don't like bears.
Why are all nerds
maybe.
attracted to redheads so much? Is it just because pop culture has banged it into our heads with all the like the Jean Greys and the
Mary Jane,
Mary Janes and the there's always the Sonias. There's always a
Ariel
redhead.
the mermaid,
What is it with the redheads?
Barbara Gordon. Red looks good in comics.
And in real life.
She does that silly dance. You fight the wyvern. That was a pretty tough boss fight, I found. I died a couple of times until I got a strategy for it. But I enjoyed it. I had fun hunting this thing. And then afterwards, that jerk, Baron Arlange, does attack you. And he's like, hey, I don't like you.
He's like, you took my wyvern. This was going to be my wyvern. Now
He'd already
you must
arranged
pay.
it for the guards to kill the wyvern for him, and he was going to win. So he does. The French ski team does attack you, and you do have to put them down. You can at this point. The Baron shows up, and he's like, "Well, do you want to kill this guy or what? You know, it's okay if you want to kill him. It's fine. It's Orlais. Anything goes in Orlais. I sleep with your wife. You kill Baron Arlange. It's all normal."
And I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good. Thank you very much for the offer. And the Baron's like, how dare you insult me by not killing me? You will
I
pay.
hate you. Matt, did you kill the Baron?
Yeah, yep, I did. Well, we had to, right? Are we talking about the Baron?
Yeah, well, the first, you have the chance to kill him early or you kill him later. Remember, the first time he attacks you right when you kill the wyvern, but you can also kill him later on where he comes after you later.
So you're not talking about the guy that's hosting the party?
No, that's the Duke.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Duke
Yeah.
Montfort.
Not the first time. I let him off with a warning, These guys don't seem to understand. I'm sure that you all get this too. It's very similar to the Persona 5 thing that I actually hate, where the cat was constantly like, you're so fucking cool. But in this game, Varric will often be like, trying to assault us is suicide. And I'm like, yes, we are a goddamn death cloud. What are you thinking? So I always tried to be nice and be like, hey, I'll fucking kill you. Don't fuck with me.
So you could also say, hey, Duke, it's your house. I'll let you decide. And if you do let the Duke decide, he decides to let the Baron go. So then you get the
Yeah, of course.
party. And I was really looking forward to this because I love a caper. I love an infiltration. I love blending in at the party. The highlight of Dragon Age Inquisition is another Orlesian party. So I was like, ooh, maybe I get to wear a mask and it's going to be a ball and there's a lot to do. But there's kind of not a lot to do here.
I mean, you can walk around and talk to everyone.
There's
Everyone
little
gets
side
a little
quests.
cutscene, and none of them matter.
There's a little side quest where you find coins, and you can throw them into the fountain, and your wish is to get a couple of ability points or something.
You get 75 EXP for each one.
Oh, we should talk about this fountain, because the fountain is, I think, the beefiest boy in all of Dragon Age. It's like a big, beefy boy fountain, and just water is just flowing out. Just, his basement is flooded. I love this fountain. And that's all I have to say about the fountain. So you and Felicia Day are trying to con people into giving them the keys to get inside the house. And,
Yeah, we find out that it was passed off from the butler to the maid to the son, and you have to go through and chat with each one, and none of it's particularly interesting until you get to the son, and then Felicia Day suddenly can't talk him out of the key, and she sends, who does she send in to bat? That's right, Hawk.
Now, she does if you play as a male Hawk, she does imply that maybe he doesn't prefer the company of women.
Yeah.
And so you do get to seduce a guy, which I think if you're playing as a straight Hawk would be really funny. But I was already playing as like a pan Hawk, so Pan Hawk was very comfortable getting his hands all over.
Yeah. I was
the
real
son of the Duke.
I was real flirty with Fenris and Anders at first, but then I got to know them and I didn't like them. And it does suck that there are no... I don't think you can romance Varric, can you?
No, you cannot.
But it did not... Neither of those appealed to me, but it was not a problem to go in and give this boy a smooch on his cheek and steal his key.
Mm-hmm.
Though, hang on. Though, when she does come out with the male character... When she comes out and is like, maybe he's into dudes, Hawk does give her a fucking long, disgusted look. And it was uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
presumably it's just because Hawk does not consider himself to be a seductor.
Mm-hmm. And this is Lord Cyril the Wolf. Woo! So Lord Cyril. So what, Vanessa? You were playing as Lady Hawk, just like the movie Lady Hawk. What happened? So what does she say to you as to why her flirting did not work?
She believes that perhaps it's because she is an elf.
Okay. And I was like, but what happens if you have an elf character? But I'm like, oh wait, you don't get to choose that.
That's right.
Yeah, okay, that works. So you can also not flirt with him, and then Lord Cyril will ask Hawk to get him a drink, and Talus will spike the drink.
Oh, interesting.
Or you could just knock him out.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different options here. And you do go to the courtyard, which is the stealth section. And this stealth section sucks because even though I'm playing as a rogue, stealth section doesn't acknowledge that I can just turn invisible and walk around anybody because I'm a master thief.
Yeah.
And you have to do this shitty... I really think that BioWare should have let you rogue around. As a bonus for playing as a rogue.
I mean, it does let you rogue around, but yes.
No, you can't use your stealth ability.
You can use it.
What?
You absolutely can use it.
I did not have the option. How?
I was able to use it.
What, you use stealth?
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Maybe I just had to map them because they weren't in my taskbar, so I couldn't use those stealth abilities.
It's not
so maybe...
in the, but I was able to do. Why was I able to stealth?
It could be that you can map them again or something because I didn't have the ability to stealth.
I definitely was able to
playing
stealth. Hey, you know what? It's not that bad. It lets you throw rocks to distract guards, and they do just go stare at the place where you threw the rock for 5 minutes, which is nice and long. Or it does let you just knock them out, and they'll wake back up and be like, and they have dialogue where they're like, "Whoa, these blackouts are really getting bad," or like, "Hey, I guess I fell asleep, but wow, I must have hit the ground hard because my head sure hurts." Okay.
You can also fight your way through, but you get an achievement if you do the stealthy way through.
It's not too hard. I save scummed it though, right? Vanessa, did you save scum this?
Yes, at one point I had to.
Oh wow.
So
there's lots of treasures and stuff to find while you stealth around. It's not that bad.
There's lots of treasures.
Stupid that they jammed a stealth section into this. You know what? Fuck your one stealth section in the entire game. Thank you for 10 minutes of shoddily put together stealth. But it's not the worst. It's not like in that Spider-Man game. The fucking stealth in that Spider-Man game is the worst. And when you have to play as Mary Jane.
You only play as Mary Jane for 2 minutes. So I didn't find those as bad as a lot of people did.
You play as Mary Jane a couple of times, and you play as Miles.
Oh, there is. The Miles one was the bad one, I think. Because he didn't have any superpowers.
I remember the Mary Jane one in the museum being atrocious.
All right. Well, you get through it either way. Then you get out. You get the key to the balcony. There's a few different ways to get that key. You can knock out the guard or find it in a chest or something. There's a few different ways of doing this. And then you get inside and you get to the vault.
And there we find the heart of the many.
Wait, what?
Yep, we steal the heart of the many, and actually there's some fun puzzles here, right?
There's floor puzzles where you have to move Felicia Day over. Oh, we haven't discussed that your other two party members who are not Felicia Day leave you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, we're going to go look around over here.
Yeah, they go look for another entrance.
And so you have to put her on a switch and then stand on a different switch and then switch back and forth between Felicia Day and Hawk to open this series of gates.
Yep.
And then there's nothing.
No, there is. There's 2 glitchy treasure chests, and
Yeah, there's one treasure chest that both Matt and I had to Google how to open
Yeah.
because it's broken. Basically, Talus has to. Have we ever said Felicia's Day's name is Talus? I don't know if
I
we
don't
have.
think so.
Her name is Talus. So Talus has to stand on one of them and you stand on the other. And yeah, you get to the heart of you find the truth of her missions.
Yeah.
Talus is not who she said. Well, I think she just didn't mention it before.
listen, do you remember how Vanessa fucking misled us all at the beginning of the season and told us that we would have a Kunari companion, but she hinted that we would be dissatisfied because she knew it was going to be garbage, and here it is. Talus is your Kunari companion. She's Kunari.
How is that possible? Because the Kunari is a religion and not a species. Yeah, and she explains that she used to be a wander-around Talus, had no purpose. Then she found the Kyun. She converted. She thinks it's heckin' cool. She does have a gem to give you, but she really needs this list of Kunari operatives that this guy is going to procure or trade away or do something with.
It's a knock
It's
list.
her old. Yeah, it's a knock list from Mission Impossible 1. And it's got the name of all the or all the, I
Kunari.
guess, Kunari secret agents. She is a Ben Hasrath, which means Heart of the Many. So that's why she called it that, I guess. And her old, the guy who recruited her to the Ben Hasrath is Salit, and he became a Tal Vashoth, which is the rebels. He abandoned his schlurp. What was it called? His
coon?
coon. He abandoned his path.
Yeah.
And is selling secrets.
Well,
to the
I like this.
Orlays.
She doesn't really even try to excuse what he, or she actually really goes to bat for all of these people and the Kunari in general and all of the terrible things that they do. She really likes to make excuses for their genocidal practices.
Oh, they're fine. They're fine.
Yeah, she's like, well, is the Chantry perfect? No system's perfect. I mean, we're working to improve it. And these agents, their names can't get out because some of them are married, they have children, their families don't even know that they're Kunari. So
I
it
have
would
no
be
problem
super
with
bad.
Kunari. I am pro Kunari. That's my. They never give you an option to join the Kun, but I totally would in this game, and they don't give you a chance to.
I would like to know more. The thing is that they do some fucking nasty shit, so maybe it ain't that cool, I'm interested in what their deal is, but pretty sure that I'm not going to be into it.
So the Kunari actually aren't super interested in pursuing Salit, but she's like, I am. So she this is a rogue operation that she's on. It's just her.
Yeah, the Bene Gesserit have
why-
not approved this
Yeah.
operation.
Exactly.
So that's why she will be disavowed.
So there's
If she uses the voice. No.
so you're stuck in the castle and you're like, well, maybe Hawk's like, well, don't worry, our companions are here to back us up. But they cut to your two companions and they're super lost, which is a great little cutscene.
I had Fenris and Alistair who hate each other, so they're like yelling at each other. They're like, "You're an idiot. You got us lost. Oh, you got us lost."
Because you were captured by the Duke. He has locked you up. He does say, "Oh, by the way, I knew that Felicia Day was Felicia Day from the second I saw her, you dumb."
I don't know why she thinks she's not in disguise. Does she think that people just don't know who she is?
Maybe she's just not a very good assassin.
Like, hey, you're Felicia Day. People are going to recognize you. I understand that maybe it's not like you're fucking Harrison Ford or whatever, but, like, you still got to prepare for it. And
So
that's
you
why it's
gotta-
okay that I'm taking this picture in your backyard.
So you gotta bust out of the prison. Does Felicia Day use the fake sick thing again?
No.
No,
You
she just opens the gate.
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
She picks
yeah.
it. That's right. And then you have three options. You can go through the dungeon to the tunnels. You can go through the dungeon and then ascend through the vaults, or you can
go back through the
northern
house.
staircase, northern staircase through the house. And I gotta take the tunnel out.
I chose the tunnel too.
Yeah. But apparently you can get a lot of XP doing the house out because you can like steal a lot of stuff.
That makes sense.
I did steal a lot of stuff from the house, and that was nice. But I went back through the dungeons for this, down through the sewers or whatever it is. And then you do get a great scene where Felicia Day explains herself to you, and then there's two tunnels, and one is like, leave her ass! And the other one is, like, go with her. What did you guys
Yeah, it's
choose?
pretty
Did you
great.
decide to end this $10 2-hour DLC 30 minutes early or not?
Surprisingly, I did not. I decided to save her.
There was also a puzzle you can do, a tile puzzle. I forgot about that tile puzzle, but it doesn't matter. I decided to not cut short the DLC I paid $10 for. Well, I paid $10 for all the DLC, but I still didn't decide to finish up and see the end of Talus's story. And it's worth it for the great ending. So you go through these tunnels, you fight some Talvashoth and a Sarabass for some reason, and then they're protecting Salit, and you do the leader of the Talvashoths do tell you where Salit is, and Talus then decides to kill him because that's what she does.
Mm-hmm. She's like, it sucks that it's come to this, but I gotta kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she seems to be trying to not kill them, but sometimes you gotta kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta.
So we kill them, right?
Well, we do. Well, the Duke Prosper makes a deal with Salit. But I wouldn't trust the Duke because he does then shoot Salit with a gun that covers him in goop.
Oh, yeah,
and the
goop
goop
gun.
attracts his wyvern Leopold, and that does eat Salit.
Mm-hmm.
And the Duke's like, kill them all. And so then you have a fight with both the Duke and Leopold, the wyvern, and it's pretty fun. I like this one.
While you were sneaking around in the castle, we have the option to sneak into the kitchen, and there we find a very vague recipe for wyvern food. And in the cook's journal, she says, well, I tried putting a pinch of this, a scoop of that, and then a whole bunch of this, and it made the wyvern really sick. So I think I won't do that again. So you can experiment with these 3 ingredients to get the right combination to poison the wyvern. And if you do so, it still fights you, but it will occasionally stop to like cough and things.
Yeah,
I
And the Duke will be
definitely-
like, "What's wrong with you?"
I did it. I definitely did it. But
I did it too.
didn't notice this at all.
But I do remember the soundbite that Vanessa's talking about.
I'm not saying I'm not saying that she's making it up, John.
Yeah.
Are you, Vanessa?
I
So-
wouldn't put it past me.
So you fight and kill poor Leopold. It's not his fault. He's a little buddy. And you do then defeat the Duke. You don't kill him. And there's a great moment here where the Duke does try to shoot the green goop at Hawk, but Leopold does jump past Hawk off the cliff, and Duke. It also knocks the Duke off the cliff. And
Doesn't he
he's
charge?
hanging-
I think he charges at Hawk, and Hawk like does a
Dodges.
sweet move and like cuts his fucking tendon, and he tumbles off the cliff, and Duke Prosper
Yeah.
is dangling. And I tried to be real nice, and I was like, look, and he's like screaming at me like, hey, I'll fucking kill your whole family. And I was like, listen, we can forget about everything. Just take my hand, and it'll be fine. And I reached down to give him a hand, and he did try to stab at me. He tried to do a stab to me.
I just like kicked his face and made him fall.
Wow.
And then I said, looks like the Duke has fallen from grace. And then I turned around and like shoved my tongue into Talus.
Yes!
And then it was like a James Bond, like, pinpoint out, and GoldenEye starts playing.
Wow.
And that's how this DLC ends, which is honestly, I like a James Bond ending to a DLC.
I don't. That didn't really
It's
happen.
fun.
Shut up.
Yeah, it
It did not.
I definitely did say the Duke has fallen from grace, and then I did make out. Well, okay, it wasn't immediate. There was some conversation
Okay.
to hit the make out button.
Now the story comes undone.
But I like my version better.
Yeah, I like your version better too. I also did smooch Talus on the way out the door. I thought that maybe she would hang around if I gave her the
me
D,
too.
but she did not, and nor did I give her the D. They just kind of smooched, and she was like, well, bye!
I was like, I thought Christmas only came once a year.
My favorite is in Moonraker when James Bond and his lady love are descending back to Earth, and the camera in their little descent pod comes on, and the people watching it go, what is he doing? And someone says, I believe he's attempting re-entry.
My favorite's at the end of the first Kingsmaker when he's like, do you like anal? And she's like, yup.
No, I hated that.
No, that was a... that made, well,
almost ruined that.
yeah, that
for
ruined
me.
that movie
It does
for
kind of
me.
ruin the movie.
Yeah.
And then Kingsmaker 2, in my opinion, was super bad. But the new one
I never
doesn't.
saw
The
it.
new one doesn't look bad. You didn't see it? It's got so much Elton John in it. So much.
Yeah, I liked the second one better than the first one as well. I know that's not a popular thing to say, but I did. And I thought Taron Egerton was really good in Rocket Man.
But I do think that the new one actually looks pretty good.
Wow, that is really unpopular hot take.
Is it?
I think so.
I think it looks great. Like it's a prequel about the guy, but they're doing him when he's younger. Like, great. Get away from the other stuff. Yeah. Okay, well, whatever. I think it looks great.
Anyway,
I also think that new
So-
Uncharted movie looks good, so I guess fuck my opinions. I'm dumb.
made out with Talus, Iris out, the end of the DLC. So, both DLCs, Matthew, are you roundly for or squarely against them individually?
I'm roundly for them both. I think that Legacy's the better one. Mark of the Assassin has some flaws, but it was fun. Like, it was still worthwhile. The stealth section wasn't even that bad. Like, it's fine. So, yeah, thumbs up. I like them both. Well worth, not... They are like $10 a piece, and they are like 2 to 3 hours of content. It does kind of feel like a ripoff. But also, they are fun little complete stories, so I don't know. I didn't hate them. Thumbs up. Squarely 4. Vanessa.
Yeah, I'm also roundly for this DLC. If you don't like Dragon Age 2, it's not going to convince you to like Dragon Age 2. It's very much more of the same. But it's good. It gives you good character moments, gives you different locations to play in, and it does, particularly Legacy, transitions into Dragon Age Inquisition very strongly. So if you're a Dragon Age Inquisition fan, I think it's worth picking up Legacy just to get that background.
Mm-hmm. I am squarely against the Mark of the Assassin DLC and roundly for the Legacy DLC. I think I was expecting something different from Mark of the Assassin. I thought it would be more adventure gamey with more dialogue and more fun Orlesian heisty stuff, and I just felt like the RPG parts where you're actually playing the game, I just didn't like very much. I didn't like the levels, I didn't like the stealth, I didn't like the puzzle stuff. I just wish it was more, I don't know, I guess I wish it was something that it wasn't, and that's not fair, but I didn't enjoy it that much. And I really like Felicia Day too. I think I was also expecting Felicia Day to be like Kasumi in Mass Effect 2 and become part of your party, and I was disappointed that she doesn't. I do, however, am roundly for that hot statue. But I loved Legacy. I thought it was great. I said to Jim that he would really like it because it is more high stakes, because the whole game's kind of low stakes, all about street level city stuff. But if you do want that world ending bad guy stuff, that's where this really gets into like big world lore, big world stories, and I think that's the really cool part. And I also think Corypheus is a neat character.
This is a super interesting piece of lore, and that's neat because I don't know, because neat lore's neat. What do you want from me?
Yeah, and I like
neat lore, neat.
I also think Legacy, I feel like it had more time because every character in the game in your party, except apparently Isabella and Aveline, does have lots to say, and that's great.
That's true. But, they're very different beasts. One is about the lore of the world, and one is like a guest star fucking
adventure,
bonus episode.
Yeah.
I kind of like them both for that, though. They do their thing,
Yep. I guess I just like the gameplay of Legacy.
I think Legacy's the better one, yes. That's not just the question.
So, with that in mind, let's wrap up. Vanessa, what are Patreon?
What Our Patreon is a place where you can find all of our bonus content. There's like 50 episodes up there. It's not like normal episodes of the show. Some of them talk about games, some of them don't. We really just kind of do whatever we feel like, and if you like it, you like it. And we like you for liking it. At the $5 level, you get access to all of our bonus content, plus you get to vote on upcoming games. There's a vote live right now, and it's 2022. It's up to you. The year where every game we play will be voted for by the patrons. If you don't care about voting, you can join at the $3 level and get access to all of our bonus content, but no voting rights. That's right, we have a poll tax. It's $2. And
well, $5 total.
$5 total. And at any level, we will read your name at the end of the show.
All right, let's start with me.
Yeah.
Johnny. I'm Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
And Ramman
Johnny, we read the patron names. We don't say our own names.
is basically Johnny.
Rayman is basically
Wishbone
Johnny.
Is gay.
What?
Saving Sid, Andy Best, John Scala, the author, I guess, Vanessa Fan, William Westgard, DP299, Sean Gonzalez, Wash in the Wind, Jack Mizell, an evil floppy-haired Vanessa boyfriend, Kevin Walter, Tyler Krump. If this game is a tale, Varric is telling and Varric is a bard. No, I'm sorry, Varric is a rogue. Robert M. Pullum, Magpie Juju, David Shook, Tracy the Borg Queen, and everybody round robin style.
No, that's instructions for how we're going to read Jim's portion.
Justin Ham.
Justin Rash.
Eric Poirier.
Alexander Jokic.
Samu Mitchell.
Grayson.
No pithy profile name this week. I'm on a break.
Arthur A.
CharityWater.org.
Matt Newland.
Stephen Paget.
Tree DDD.
Enia Mazzini.
Ian Frederick.
Tom.
Offord.
I'm Hawk's mom, and this is my favorite podcast in Kirkwall.
Teen Wolfhard Bumpkins.
Gage Lasharite.
I would like to thank Nick, Kita Renee, Prince Cifuentes wants to make the world smooth.
Wow.
Jesse's Mom's Pizza, Cameron, Shoei, George, Brady, Kyle, Stop the Shock, see Twitter hashtag for more info, Ryan Womack, Eduardo Franco, Vanessa's Gold Taco Bell PlayStation 5, Tired of NFD's Nuts, Do Good Recklessly, Friend of DeSoto, Aaron O'Toole, Jerry Schreffler, Sagreen Law, Megan Sullivan, Johnny Five Alive, Isaac Wright, and Zachary Train.
And I would like to thank Christian Go, Vanessa. A pile of half-eaten chicken parts is not a puzzle. Chief Hazard.
It's a puzzle.
Chief Hazard wants you to know that the opposite of formaldehyde is casual de Jekyll. Codab Games, Butts on Parade, Anthony Cruz, Grey Code, Michael McDonough, Stu Skeel, Chris Ryan, WWE, Mike G. It's time to change that to AEW, Mike G. Armin Hammer, Jake Dickerson, Aiden Marriott, Wah Wah Wee Wah, Dr. Fine, say everyone's name, Adam H., Florian, Jonas Kramer, and our best and handsomest friend, Stan Ferguson.
Send us an email. You know our email. SquareRootsPodcast@gmail.com. If you don't want to do that, you can go to our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people. You can go to us on Twitter at Square Roots Pod, and you can go to us on Discord, but you'll have to find the Discord link from one of those places. We will tell it to you if you ask. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter as Beige on Beige and on YouTube. Links in the show notes.
If you're listening on Spotify, remember, we're still looking for that Joe Rogan deal. So contact Spotify and be like, this is my favorite podcast. This is why I have Spotify. Give them some money.
And if you wonder where the rest of our episodes are, you can go onto our RSS feed or even squareroots.libsyn.com.
Yeah, or YouTube. We have a YouTube channel and all the episodes go up there. You can listen to the episode on YouTube.
Some of them
and
got
look at
taken
the...
down because of copyright strikes.
Most of the episodes are up there. Look, we're getting better. We're learning.
For Square Roots, I've been Johnny.
I'm Matthew.
I'm Vanessa.
Yay! Bye.
Bye. This one goes so long. Bye.
Matt,
It is a
try it.
Is it my
Owen-
headphones?
Try an Owen Wilson.
try and
Wow.
Owen Wilson. Wow. Do it, Matt.
Oh, I think he's having technical issues.
Matt.
Wow.
Matt, wow. Wow. I
It's
just
fine.
want us to be saying wow when Matt finally gets the audio back.
Wow.
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 Wow. Wow. Wow.
I'm
Wow,
marrying
guys.
Jennifer Lopez. I can't.
Oh my
can't quite
god,
do it.
wow.
He's
I
got
can't
such
believe
an odd voice.
I can't wow. I can't believe that I, a humble math teacher, have married Jennifer Lopez. Wow.
Are we getting married? No. See, I'm going into like Jack Nicholson.
Are we getting married?
Are we
married?
getting married now?
Yeah. Are you gonna
Wow.
marry me? Wow.
All right, this is unlistenable. Let's. So, did you like it?